June 1st, 1942. Dear Miss Rabiner, how do you do? I'm Captain Jacob S. Ludwig, U.S. Army. As you probably know, my father and your father are friends, and they have suggested that you and I meet and get acquainted in a social way. I am stationed at an Army base in Medford, Oregon, 168 miles south of Eugene, Oregon. I understand that you live in New York City. I would not imagine that you get to Medford, Oregon very often, so perhaps a meeting in New York City would be more convenient for you. Sincerely, Captain Jacob S. Ludwig, U.S. Army.
June 4th, 1942. Dear Captain Ludwig, thank you for your letter. Does meet and get acquainted in a social way mean go out on a date? If so, the answer is yes. I would like that very much. As for where to meet, I agree that New York City would be more convenient. I suppose we could meet halfway in Bismarck, North Dakota, but then we'd both need snowshoes. Sincerely, Luis R. Rabina, Private Citizen. P.S. Can you tell me something about yourself?
Dear Miss Rabiner, you said you would like to know something about me, but I don't know what to write without boring you. My father is a tailor in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. I was born in Coatesville and grew up in Coatesville. Coatesville is even smaller than Medford. That's all I can think of. Sincerely, Captain Jacob S. Ludwig, U.S. Army.
Dear Captain Ludwig, you can do better than that. Sincerely, Luis Rabina.
Dear Miss Rabina, all right, I'll try. Coatesville has a population of 5,000, and it's 25 miles due west of Philadelphia on Route 30. I have only one sibling, a sister named Betty. It is just us two children, which I suppose is a little unusual since my mother is one of 12 children, all girls. So I have a lot of aunts. Sincerely, Captain Jacob S. Ludwig, U.S. Army.
Keep going.
There is not much more to tell. During high school, I worked at a soda fountain after school, and during summers. I enjoyed making root beer floats most of all, because it took a lot of practice to keep the foam from dripping all over my hands when I added the ice cream. My next job was working at the Lucan Steel Mill on the outskirts of Coatesville, also after school and on weekends. Then I went to college, and then medical school. Right after medical school, I was drafted. Now you know everything there is to know about me.
You're a doctor?
Yes.
And you didn't tell me?
I just told you 2 letters ago.
You are either the most modest human being who ever lived, or this is a trick. Don't you know that every girl in the world wants to go out with a doctor? Except me. It's too obvious. Do you dance?
No.
Why not?
No one ever taught me.
Would you like to learn to dance?
No.
Why not?
Because it would make me feel self-conscious.
Dear Captain Jacob S. Ludwig, U.S. Army, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Dancing is the one thing in life that can take you out of yourself and lift you up from the everyday, workaday world onto a higher plane. Dancing is also beautiful, artistic, and a wonderful way to get to know people. P.S. I'm a dancer. P.P.S. Can we start using first names now? I like to be called Louise, though my sister calls me Lou. What do you prefer?
I like to be called Jack. Sincerely, Captain Jacob S. Ludwig, U.S. Army.
Was that a joke?
Was what a joke. And I'm sorry for my remarks about dancing. My father told me you were an actress, not a dancer. Can you tell me about yourself?
Of course. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I went to the high school for the performing arts in Manhattan, for which I had to audition, and I did a song from Anything Goes by Cole Porter. I sang Blow, Gabriel, Blow, which is one of the songs that Ethel Merman sang in the original production. She's my idol. Her and Ginger Rogers, and Katharine Hepburn, and if I'm fair, Rosalind Russell. But I don't like how she dresses. Anyway, I sang Blow, Gabriel, Blow, and I went for the high B flat at the end, which in my case sounded like a chainsaw trying to cut through aluminum. But that apparently stunned the professors so much that they marked the wrong box on their evaluation sheets, and I still got in. After high school, I went to NYU for 2 semesters, but dropped out to become a dancer, an actress, and now I'm living in the theater district at the Curtain Call boarding house. And guess what? It's working. Earlier this year, I was in my first professional show ever. I played a woman who was, how shall I put this, a lady of the night. It was terrific, and everybody said I was very convincing. Dear Jack, I take it from your long silence that you don't approve of my playing a lady of the night. But I think it's important that the theater isn't afraid to talk about anything that it considers honest and important. And it was the Threepenny Opera by Bertolt Brecht, who is a well-known writer. Okay, it was nice knowing ya. Have a nice life. Bye.
Dear Louise, I'm so sorry for not writing. There was an emergency and they needed doctors to go out to sea and treat the incoming wounded from a battle in the Pacific. I was on the ship for several days, but that's all I'm allowed to say about it. So I'm very sorry. I received your letters, but I wasn't allowed to write to anyone. You must have thought I was extremely rude. So last I heard from you, you were playing an unusual part in a play. That must have been challenging.
Dear Jack, what a terrible war. I'm sorry you had to be out on emergency, and I feel awful for being mad about it. Of course, you didn't know I was mad.
Yes, I did. I could tell when you wrote bye. Can you please continue telling me about yourself, if that's all right?
Of course it's all right. I guess I tried to shock you by saying Lady of the Night. The truth is, the Threepenny Opera isn't shocking at all. It's a modern version of a musical from the 18th century, and it's meant to be very avant-garde. That just means the stage was dark, and we all spoke with Hungarian accents. It was presented in a church basement with about 40 seats, and it only ran for 2 weeks, so it was not exactly a Broadway debut.
Dear Louise, I think that's wonderful. Everyone has to start somewhere. And to get any role in any play in New York City sounds like a big accomplishment to me. Have you tried out for other parts too?
Yes, I audition all the time, mostly for musicals, but for some of them you need experience just to get in the door. I also take dancing and singing lessons every week, both with the same woman, and she's tremendous. She screams with life. Sometimes she screams at me too, but only when I do something dumb like strain my vocal cords. As I guess you can tell, my goal in life is to be on Broadway. That usually means starting out in the chorus line, which would be fine with me. In fact, I'd love it. Last week I saw Oklahoma, and it was so wonderful I almost fainted. Really. At one point, a character named Ado Annie, who was played by an actress named Celeste Holm, sang a song called I'm Just a Girl Who Can't Say No. And I literally held my breath for so long I got dizzy. I didn't know I was holding my breath. It's just that the song was so perfect and the performance so stunning that I couldn't move. Do you ever feel that way about anything? Sometimes I want to be in a show so badly that I want to cry about it. I shouldn't have told you that. Now you'll think I'm crazy.
You don't sound crazy at all. You sound passionate. I don't feel as passionate as that about anything. I wish I did. I feel angry about the war, but that's not the same. When I was in college, I thought about becoming an architect, and I even took a course in it. There's something very precise about architecture that I like very much, but I also like working as a doctor. It makes me feel that I'm accomplishing something specific and useful. I also like getting to know my patients. Some of them are so wounded they can't communicate at first. But as they get better, they start talking about their lives and their families, and I can see the anxiety simply lifting out of them. Their faces become less troubled and they start looking hopeful again. It doesn't always happen, of course. Some of them just don't get better. Sorry, that was the longest paragraph I've ever written. Except once when I wrote a 3-page letter to my father right after high school, telling him that I didn't want to follow in his footsteps. He read it quietly, handed it back to me, and said, "You want to become a doctor instead of a tailor, and you think I'm going to be mad at you? Your mother is out there dancing in the kitchen."
Ha!
On a more practical note, I've been looking into getting a plane to New York. It shouldn't be too hard because my base is part of the Army Air Force training. And we have a whole airport right here on the other side of the hospital. The hard part will be getting leave. I figure I'll need at least a 4-day pass to get to New York, meet you, and get back. The trouble is that leave is only granted to one doctor at a time, and apparently it can take as long as 6 months to get any kind of pass at all. On top of that, my commanding officer, Colonel Ramsey, is very hard-nosed and inflexible. Those aren't the words we use about him here on base. But I don't want to shock you. For the word nose in the phrase hard-nosed, you'd have to substitute another word which stands for a different part of the body. The part you sit down on. It starts with the letter A. All best, Jack. Hello, are you there? Oh no, now you're offended. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have tried to be funny. I can see now how offensive it was. The A word. Louise?
No. I'm not offended at all. Are you crazy? Dancers are very physical beings, and we use the A word constantly. Besides, I grew up in Brooklyn, and calling people the A word is the nicest thing we said about anybody. But guess what? I've got an audition for an actual Broadway play. It's a long story, but a friend of mine knows somebody who knows a producer, and I got a call last week, and they want to see me this Friday. So I'm very sorry that I didn't write for a few days, but I've been buried in the part because I have about 40 lines I have to memorize, and I want to be letter perfect, and I'm still working on them. My roommate is drilling them with me every night. Her name is Cynthia Monroe, and she's the most gorgeous creature you've ever seen, as well as the nicest. She holds down 2 jobs, one as a receptionist, the other as a waitress, and she still wants to be in show business. You watch. She'll be a big star someday, and she'll still have every friend she ever met. More soon, I promise. Sincerely, Louise, in a state of terror, Rabina.
What's the play?
It's a comedy called Arsenic and Old Lace. It's been playing on Broadway for ages, and they're putting in their 3rd replacement cast, and I'm up for Elaine, who's one of the leads, and it's a wonderful part. In the story, Elaine is engaged to Mortimer Brewster, and in the movie, he's played by Cary Grant. And he thinks his family is crazy, which they are. I wish you could hear me deliver the lines out loud, but I can write them out for you so you can see them. Plus, that'll help me memorize them. Okay? Here goes. Oh, wait, I should also mention that at this point in the play, Elaine has run out of the cellar where she was locked up by Mortimer's brother, who's a criminal. Mortimer, where have you been? I've almost been killed. What's going on in this house? What do you mean, what's going on in this house? You were supposed to take me to the theater tonight, and you called it off. You asked me to marry you. I said I would, and 5 minutes later you threw me out. Now listen, Mr. Brewster. I want to know where I stand. Do you love me? I love you very much, Elaine. In fact, I love you so much I can't marry you. Have you suddenly gone crazy? I don't think so, but it's just a matter of time. You see, insanity runs in my family. It practically gallops. Now listen, Mortimer, you've got to do better than that. No, dear, there's a strange taint in the Brewster blood. If you really knew my family, it's what you'd expect if Strindberg had written the Siegfried Follies. Now, darling, all this doesn't prove you're crazy. Look at your aunts. They're Brewsters, aren't they? And they're the sanest people I've ever known. Look, Elaine, I know I'm acting irrationally, but remember, I'm a mad Brewster. Listen, mister, if you think you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. Maybe you're not going to marry me, but I'm going to marry you, you dope. That's it. What do you think? Elaine's whole pot is terrific, but that's the passage I'm doing for the audition.
Wow, I wish I could hear you reciting the lines. When I come out east and you're in it, will you get me a ticket?
The audition is on Friday, and I don't think I've ever been this nervous.
Good luck. I'll be thinking about you on the big day. Louise? Louise, how did it go? Louise?
For crimini's sake, I am so angry. I'm sorry, I'll never swear again, but dang it all, you won't believe it. Okay, here's what happened. On Friday, I walked into the audition, and behind the table are the producers, Howard Lindsay and Russell Krauss, two of the biggest names in the American theater. I'm not kidding. They wrote Life with Father. Anyway, they asked me to read, so I took a breath and did the part, and I was incredible. I don't know why, but I was like an airplane soaring through the sky, and they loved it. They even said so. So then they asked me to wait outside. It would just take a minute. Then they called me back and said, listen, we both thought you did a wonderful job, but we've decided to go with another actress. Her name is Cynthia Monroe. Cynthia Monroe! That's my roommate, the little no-good weasel. She never told me she was up for the part, and now she says she didn't tell me because she thought it would make me nervous, which is a big lie because she probably didn't know about the play until she rehearsed it with me. And then I'll bet she snuck around to the theater and got an audition. And now she's going to star in a Broadway show while I starve for the rest of my life in a garret like that girl with the candle in the Italian opera.
You seem upset.
I am upset, and I hereby give up acting. I'm going back to tap dancing. You can rely on a good pair of tap shoes. And please don't feel sorry for me. Just think of me kindly when you read about my funeral after I kill myself. So how are you?
I think I'm better than you are at the moment.
You got that right.
December 14, 1942. Dear Louise, Happy holidays. The bad news here is that Colonel Ramsey still hasn't granted my request for leave, and now I don't think it will happen till January. I know that a 4-day pass doesn't sound like much, but if you could see the state of our patients, you'd see the problem. Severe burns, missing limbs. But these kids are fighters and they don't give up. How will you be spending the holidays?
Dear Jack, I think I'll take my usual very religious attitude and go on a pilgrimage to Macy's. Does the hospital put up lights or anything?
They do put up lights, and we also have a Christmas tree and a menorah in the visiting area. I understand that last year there was a party on Christmas Eve and they tried to get everybody out of their beds to dance. Yes, dance. And I suppose I'll try it, in the spirit of fellowship. Meanwhile, somebody put mistletoe up over the doorway to the surgical area, and as I walked through the door after an operation yesterday, one of the nurses gave me a kiss. I tell you this because in the Army we believe in full disclosure.
What's a name? I'll scratch her eyes out.
Her name is Annie, and she's about 80 years old.
I'll still scratch your eyes out. In show business, we believe not only in full disclosure, but also revenge. How are you holding up?
I'll be fine. Thank you for asking. It's the patients I'm worried about. Most of them are just teenagers. I still can't believe there is a war. My father says the human race is no damn good, and I'm inclined to agree with him. Did you read Eleanor Roosevelt's column last week? She said, "I wonder that the time does not come when young men facing each other with intent to kill do not suddenly think of their homes and their loved ones, and realizing that those on the other side must have the same thoughts, throw away their weapons of murder." I'm sure I'll write again before the end of the month, but in case something happens, I just want to wish you a happy holiday. You've made the past few months very enjoyable for me.
Happy holidays to you, Jack. January 15th, 1943. Dear Jack, yesterday the most incredible thing happened. I met your parents. I went to see my parents in Brooklyn to pick up a skirt, and I walked in the door, and suddenly my parents introduced me to your parents who were there for dinner. I couldn't believe it. My father acted very nonchalant and said, "Hey Lou, do you remember that boy I said you should meet sometime? Well, these are his parents. They just dropped by." Ha! I didn't believe that for a minute. Nobody just drops by for dinner all dressed up. At least not in Brooklyn, unless they're Italian. So I'll bet there's some conniving going on. And they were drinking some fancy French wine, which I find completely suspicious because my parents only drink Manischewitz. Anyway, your parents are wonderful. I love the way your father has a kind of quiet sense of humor. And your mother is the sweetest woman who ever lived. She kept patting me on the arm and smiling. So I patted her back, and she made happy little gurgling noises. She said, "You would like my son. He is a very fine boy. He is a doctor, and he is in the army. And now that we've met and I know you are such a fine girl, I hope you will visit us sometime in Coatesville. Have you heard of Coatesville?" So I told her that Coatesville had a population of 5,000 and was near Philadelphia. That surprised her, but she took it in stride and kept patting my arm. I'm telling you, she's adorable. She's out of a Norman Rockwell painting, if Norman Rockwell ever painted Jews. I also met your sister Betty, who was there, and she's so attractive and interesting. She took me aside at one point and whispered, "I know my parents are trying to fix you up with my brother, but you're not his type. He's so intelligent." So what's the story? Have you told your parents yet that we write to each other? That would explain the family cabinet meeting I stumbled into.
Dear Louise, no, I've never told my parents about our letters, but I think Betty found out and she may have told them. There's a GI on my base who's from a town near Coatesville, and he dated her once, and I guess I bragged about you a couple of times at the hospital. I'm sorry about that.
What are you sorry about? It means you like me.
I guess it does.
February 10th, 1943. Any word yet from Colonel Ramshackle about your leave of absence?
No, not yet, but I submit the paperwork at least once a week.
Paperwork? Are you kidding? Just put your finger in his eye and say, "Remy, old boy, I want that approval and I want it now, or I'm putting my scalpel down and calling the Pentagon."
That sounds like it would work out beautifully.
Help me, Hannah, and call the Marines. Have I got news for you? Are you ready? Your mother has just invited me to visit her in Coatesville 2 weeks from Sunday. Coatesville, land of legend. I've got the letter right here. She says she thinks I'd enjoy getting out of the city for a day. She also says that coincidentally, some of her sisters will be visiting that day from Philadelphia, and I might enjoy meeting them.
No.
So what do you think? I'd like to go, but it will do exactly what we've been trying to avoid, put pressure on our relationship. Of course, you might say, what relationship, since we've never met each other? Hint, hint. So what should I do? Go to Coatesville or not?
No, definitely not. Too many things could go wrong, and it makes me nervous.
Me too. I agree entirely. On the other hand, it might be rude to turn them down. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
You have no idea. Just tell them you're busy that day.
Will do. But what if they suggest another day?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. They're your parents, and I need some advice. You're the only man I've ever written 1,000 letters to, and it's pretty hard to keep lying to them, but that's what I'll do if it's what you want me to do. Now, what should I do?
Don't go. I'd rather take you there myself if I ever get home. And if you go without me, it could be a disaster. So the answer is clear as a bell. Do not go.
Fine. Dear Mrs. Ludwig, yes, of course I'll come. Sincerely, Louise Rabina.
You said yes?
Yes, and don't bug me about it. I think it's the right thing to do.
Then why did you ask me?
To get you advice.
And I said don't do it.
You were indecisive.
Indecisive? I said no, don't go. How is that indecisive?
It was the way you said it.
It was a letter.
Oh, great. Now I'm worried. I only wish you were going with me. But that presumes we've actually met in person, and heaven forbid the cursed army should give you a measly 4-day pass for once in their miserable lives. It makes me so mad sometimes. Don't they have other doctors in that place? Can't you tell Colonel Ramsblossom, or whatever he's called, that I caught malaria and have a week to live, and this is the only chance you'll ever have to say hello to me? Sorry, I think I'm getting nervous about going.
Listen, you shouldn't be nervous. Actually, I think you'll have a good time. My aunts will be especially warm and welcoming. Oof. Dear Aunt Florence, listen to me very carefully. Do not, I repeat, do not give Louise a cooking test like you did with the last woman I showed an interest in. Do you remember Marjorie? She left me the day after meeting the aunts. She told me you took her into the kitchen, forced her to make sweet and sour cabbage rolls, and then said, "Darling, if you plan to feed these to my nephew, I suggest you drown yourself right now and get it over with." Then Aunt Sue criticized her lipstick. Aunt Linda told her dress was too tight, but she knew a good seamstress who works miracles. And Aunt Brenda said her chest looked phony, quote, "but I mean that in the nicest way possible," end quote. Then Aunt Lena criticized her teeth, Aunt Bert told her she had a mustache, and Aunt Evelyn asked her if she had scoliosis. So rest assured, Aunt Florence, that I will know if you do these things. I guarantee you. I will find out. And if Louise comes back with a single story of any kind, I'll tell my mother what you said about Dad last summer, and she will never speak to you again. Now go tell your sisters to check their mailboxes, because I'm writing to every single one of them. Goodbye. Dear Louise, I just heard from Aunt Florence, and she's looking forward to meeting you. So have a good time in Coatesville. I'm sure it will be a relaxing day all around. Well, what happened? Louise? Hello? Would you please tell me what happened?
Dear Jack, well, I just got home, and I have to tell you, your family is everything it's cracked up to be, and you don't deserve them. To start from the beginning, I arrived in Coatesville on the 11:07, and your father and mother were waiting on the platform for me, along with your mother's 11 sisters and all their husbands. That made 25 of us, but some of them also brought their children, so I think the total was about 40. When we left the station, everyone got in their cars and drove to your house. And the people of Coatesville must have thought it was a parade. There were people lining the streets on either side, waving. What the heck did you tell these people? That I was the Queen of England? That your family is desperate to get rid of you. What am I missing here? It's not as if you're bad to look at. I know that now because your mother showed me about 100 photographs of you. I saw you as a toddler, as a schoolboy, as a college graduate, and as a med school graduate. I also saw you in the bathtub when you were 1 year old, and believe me, I saw all of you. I think you'll also be glad to hear that your aunts were on their best behavior, except Aunt Linda, who asked me why I had dark circles under my eyes. I told her I was a fan dancer, and it kept me up late at night, and that shut her up. Your sister Betty was the most interesting of all, and that leads me to why I didn't write you for a couple of days. I ended up staying over at your house for 2 nights to recover. Here's what happened. Towards the end of the day, your aunt started to get in their cars, and that was perfect because I had to catch the train to New York. Then Betty chimed in and said, "Please don't go yet. I want to show you my room first." I thought that was sweet, so we went upstairs. I saw her room, and she showed me pictures of her boyfriends, and then she suggested I go to the window and look at the view. As you know, it's a large window. It was wide open, and I fell out. Yes, that's right. I went out the window. 1 minute I was standing there, looking at the trees, enjoying the air blowing in from the front yard, and the next minute Betty must have tripped on something behind me. She says she caught a toe on the rug near the bureau, and her shoulder hit me in the back, and out I went. Fortunately, Betty's window was over the roof of the porch, so I slid down that, then bounced off the gutter, which broke my fall. So when I landed in the bushes, I didn't break anything. Betty, of course, let out a shriek, and everyone came running and made a fuss. But I was fine, except for a couple of bruises, which are healing nicely. I felt like an idiot, of course, but I guess these things happen. Your aunts insisted that 2 of their husbands carry me into the house, which wasn't necessary, but they did it anyway. So we had a parade into the living room with Betty at the rear yelling, "It was an accident! It was an accident!" They put me on a couch, and your Aunt Fern rolled up her sleeves and told everybody to stand aside. She was trained as a nurse, but your other aunts shouted her down because apparently she has no training whatsoever. Then she admitted that she'd always wanted to be a nurse, but never got around to it. Then one of your uncles pulled out his business card and said I could sue your parents and make a bundle. Everyone else got mad at him, and they all ended up fighting while I sat there and watched. Then they all went home. Your parents then insisted that I stay the night, and it ended up being 2 nights, and they couldn't do enough for me. I got to taste your mother's borscht with sour cream, and I had 2 helpings. And on the second day, your mother and I made strudel, and if I could, that's all I'd eat for the rest of my life. So even if you and I never meet, I want your parents to adopt me. Who would have guessed it? P.S. Betty says she feels awful about what happened. She said she'll make it up to me by taking me camping in the wilderness. But I told her that that was highly unlikely.
Dear Louise, your letter amused and horrified me. Thank goodness you're all right. I hope you don't think Betty pushed you on purpose out of some crazy sibling jealousy or something. Let me think that.
We can think it together. Now, what's the story with Colonel Ramsbottom? Is this guy ever going to give in?
He better, or my parents will kill him. As soon as you left Coatesville, they wrote me a 3-page letter raving about you. As soon as I read it, I marched right in to see Colonel Ramsey, and I reminded him that it was 8 months since I requested leave. He could see how angry I was, and he looked me straight in the eye and said he'd think about it.
about it. For crying out loud, what's the matter with that man? What is he doing? Crocheting a hat or something? Please send me his address right away.
No.
Why not?
Because I know you, and I'd be court-martialed the next morning.
Well, we have to do something.
But I'd be in jail.
Well, at least I could visit you.
April 21st, 1943. Dear Louise, guess what? Guess what? Colonel Ramsey just gave in.
Well, hallelujah.
I have no idea why he changed his mind. He called me to his office, and he was holding a letter, and... Oh, no, you didn't write to him, did you? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. In any case, I'm getting a 4-day pass, and I think I'll be there to see you on the 17th. What do you think?
Well, let me see. I have to check my calendar. As usual, it's filled with appointments. On the 16th, it's chicken and biscuits at the Borden House. I wouldn't want to miss that. And on the 17th, the Aga Khan is taking me to the opera, as he always does.
Oh, no. I should have checked the date with you first. I'm so sorry. I'll talk to the colonel and see if he can move it back a day.
Jack, I was kidding. I don't even know the Aga Khan.
So then Saturday night is all right with you?
Yes, it's fine. It's more than fine. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. So now we have over a month to plan the big event. What would you like to do? Shall we say dinner first and then a Broadway show? Is there anything special you want to see? P.S. Could you send me a picture of yourself? P.P.S. Only 48 days to go.
How exciting. 48 days is barely enough time to buy a dress. I'll go out tomorrow morning and start looking. As for the evening, I think dinner sounds good. I'm very fond of dinner. And yes, I'd love to go to a show. The one I'd like to see at the moment is a comedy by Noel Coward called Blithe Spirit, about a woman who's a ghost, and she drives a husband crazy when she visits him from the great beyond. If I die young, that's exactly what I want to do. Just think what fun it would be, walking through walls and watching your husband kiss another woman. Incidentally, I walk by their box office all the time, so I'm happy to pick up the tickets. In fact, the tickets can be my contribution to the evening. Okay, here comes the hot pot. I'd love to go dancing after the show. I know you said you didn't want to learn, but can I change your mind? Dancing is easy, honestly. It's just walking with rhythm. No practice necessary. P.S. Enclosed is the picture of me you asked for, though I'm hesitant to send it. It's just a snapshot that my sister took. Please glance at it briefly, while wearing sunglasses, then destroy it.
Dear Louise, I'm speechless. You're so beautiful. I don't know what to say.
Please keep talking.
Are you a model? Is that really you? I had no idea. If I ever introduced you to any of my friends, they'd die of jealousy.
Dear Jack, that was the sweetest letter I ever received. And if I looked like you say I do, I wouldn't have to do auditions. I'd just sign contracts. Now what about the dancing? Is it yes or no?
Yes, but I've got to warn you, the last woman I danced with is still on crutches.
Ah, so you have danced with other women.
You can stop it. I guess it stopped.